What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Middle Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. And today, guys, we are going to be diving into 10 films from 1983 that I think you need to have in your Blu-ray or 4K collection. And I'm super excited to get back into the series. I have done from 1979 on, so my plan is to go all the way up to 2022. So I've done 1979, 1980. I need to do a playlist for these. Maybe I'll make a playlist before I put this out, and I'll link that up above. Yeah, we're gonna talk about 10 movies that I think you need to own on Blu-ray for 1983. And 1983 was an interesting year when I was going through it because I've actually seen quite a few movies from 1983, but there's not a lot of those like big landmark films, I feel like, in this year. There's just a lot of really good ones, just a lot of really good, solid recommendations. I did watch a new movie that I'd never seen before on 4K, so we're gonna be talking about that one in this video as well. But before we get into it, I need you to subscribe to the channel. Do you like Blu-rays and 4Ks and physical media content? We talk about all that stuff on here like crazy. I do videos every single day. So if you like Blu-rays and 4Ks and owning the movies that you love, physical media, all this stuff here behind me, then hit the subscribe button. Also, be sure to like this video and comment down below, guys. We're going to go through 10 movies from 1983, but there are way more than 10 movies that came out in the year of 1983. So let me know some of your recommendations in that comment section below as well. And then turn on the bell notifications for all future videos. So let's jump right into it, guys. And we are going to start with Francis Ford Coppola's The Outsiders. So I just watched this one for the first time on 4K. This 4K, I think, came out last November, but I didn't get it. I think it's because probably it never came with a slipcover, and I'm just like that. If it didn't come out with a slipcover, I don't buy it day one. But this was actually sent to me by a subscriber, so finally got around to watching this. And what's cool about this release, and I didn't even realize it, it's got a digital code in here. So look, I'll give away, if you guys, you know, if this works, if it's redeemable, you can add the digital code. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure. I think it is, because I think I just ripped it out of the plastic to watch it. So that should have been a good code. So you can watch The Outsider, whoever gets it first. But this does have two 4K discs in it. It does have the theatrical version, and then it has the 115-minute, the complete novel edition. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I guess it's, because this is based on a novel, I guess it's the, like more material, more stuff that was in the book but wasn't in the original theatrical cut. So that's pretty interesting. That's about 115 minutes, and then the original theatrical is like 90 minutes. So that's like 25 more minutes of additional, you know, movie. I watched the theatrical cut though. I just like watching the theatrical cuts of stuff before I dive into the director's cuts. I don't know why, I'm just kind of like that. Are you like that? Let me know in that comment section. But I did enjoy this movie. I enjoy this movie quite a bit. It's just a real like simple teen coming of age story. There's some dark stuff that does happen in this movie. I was kind of taken by surprise. Like I knew the premise, but I was just surprised by how dark and emotional it got, especially towards the end of this movie. But it's just a good story with some good characters, and just the people in this movie. It's insane. You got freaking Tom Cruise in this movie for one, like, and he's playing a very small part. This is like very early on in Tom Cruise's career. You got Diane Lane in this movie. You got Rob Lowe. You got Patrick Swayze. You got Matt Dillon in this film. You got Ralph Macchio, who I didn't even know was in this movie, the Karate Kid. This is the year before he played the Karate Kid. So he definitely kind of takes center stage in this movie. Like I was kind of surprised with all the big name actors is in this movie, how much his character was kind of brought to the forefront. Like he's really almost, I would say, the lead of the film. But C. Thomas Howell, I would say, is probably co-leads with him. I think they share probably just as much screen time in this movie. But yeah, just a really good, solid kind of coming of age film with a terrific cast. Just a lot of people, just a lot of known people in this movie. Francis Ford Coppola film. And yeah, Emilio Estevez is also in this film. Emilio Estevez, the Mighty Ducks guy. I swear to God.
You're the one who yelled the Breakfast Clubber's name. I was like, Emilio!
Leif Garrett's in the film. Just tons of people in this movie. But I really love the artwork on the cover right there. I think that's the original poster, maybe. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, this is so worth a pickup, especially on 4K, because it looked amazing. The transfer on this was just done extraordinarily well. So I thought the transfer looked really great. You can get this for $22 $18 right now, which is a little pricey for a 4K, especially when it doesn't have the slipcover. It was on sale for $16 a couple of weeks ago, so maybe wait till it goes down in price a little bit. But I'm telling you right now, it's a really great movie if you haven't seen it, with a terrific cast from 1983, and it looks excellent in 4K. So I do recommend that you own that one in the collection for sure. And then we'll move on. We talked about Tom Cruise and The Outsiders. This movie came out the same year, and this is the movie that probably launched Tom Cruise's career as just like the lead star that he is, or that he became in the 80s, and really kind of led into Top Gun and all the other stuff, Legend, all the other stuff he would do in his 80s run. But Risky Business came out in 1983. This is just a classic, again, another coming-of-age film. It has that iconic moment with Tom Cruise skating out in his underwear. It's kind of like a coming-of-age film. It's a party movie. It's a guy that's in way over his head. And Tom Cruise is just excellent in this movie. Just has so much charisma. And I really enjoyed this movie when I watched it. And I think you need to have this one in your collection. It's definitely a classic for sure. I don't know who directed this one off the top of my head. Written and directed by Paul Brickman. So a director I'd never really heard about or heard his name before. You got Rebecca De Mornay in this movie, who between her and Tom Cruise definitely have some very steamy scenes together in the movie. But yeah, Risky Business, it's a classic. You need to have it in a collection. You can have it right now on Blu-ray for $11.86. So absolutely recommend that you own Risky Business. And the next one, I tried to go a little lighter on the horror because there was some other films from some other genres in this year that I have seen and do enjoy. But I could not finish 1983, talking about 1983, without recommending Sleepaway Camp. It's a classic camp slasher movie. If you haven't seen this movie, if you don't know anything about the end of this movie, don't look anything up on the internet. Just watch this film and get to that ending and just have your mind blown. Don't look up anything. Watch this movie. But yeah, it's a great camp slasher. I don't know if I personally would put it above like the first Friday the 13th or even the second one, but definitely some of the sequels. I do think that this one has its charm and merit to it. It's way more kind of out there and schlocky and goofy than the Friday the 13th. The characters are way more cartoonish, almost parodies of the characters in Friday the 13th. They're definitely more entertaining. Like, I love all the characters in this. It is kind of like a whodunit, like you don't know who's going around committing these murders until you get to the very end, and just the reveal is just completely batshit bonkers, insane. I'm telling you right now, don't look it up. Just get Sleepaway Camp on Blu-ray, watch it, experience it for yourself. But yeah, this is a classic horror movie, a classic camp slasher film. You have to own it in the collection. It is $9.96 for this Scream Factory edition of Sleepaway Camp. So I say purchase this one right now. But what I also will say is these are probably going to get 4Ks from Scream Factory at some point. I just feel like they will. I don't know when that's going to be, so I would get this right now and watch it, but maybe don't get the sequels. The sequels are a little pricey if you want to get those Scream Factory editions. But yeah, Sleepaway Camp is an absolute horror staple, and you need to own it. And my next one, guys, look, I love comedy. I love comedy so much. It's pretty much dead right now, but we cannot go past 1983 without talking about the original Vacation movie with Chevy Chase, directed by Harold Ramis. This started the franchise, the entire Vacation franchise, which I love. All of them except for European. I'm not a big fan of European or the remake. I guess I just only love 3. But Vacation, Christmas Vacation, Vegas Vacation. To be honest, I would probably put this below Christmas Vacation and Vegas Vacation, but this one's just iconic. It's a family on their way to vacation cross country. They're trying to get to Wally World, and just all the kinds of issues start to happen, and just all kinds of obstacles are standing in the way of Clark Griswold and his perfect family vacation. And it's just hilarious. Chevy Chase is just one of the greatest comedic minds ever, all time. I love this movie so much. You got Tommy Doyle in this film. You got Anthony Michael Hall playing the son. And it's just a great cast. Beverly D'Angelo, like, they just have great chemistry together as husband and wife. Just a very believable husband and wife chemistry and relationship. And you even have Cousin Eddie in this movie. Randy Quaid is in this film as well. He's definitely not as fleshed out as he would become in the later sequels. Like, they kind of knew what they had with the Cousin Eddie at that point, and they really made him the focal point of those movies. But this is a really great movie, really great comedy from 1983. Absolutely recommend that you own it in the collection. You can get it for $12.69, but I would also recommend looking at your Dollar General stores, because I'm pretty sure this one's out there floating around for about $3.99 or $4.99 at Dollar General. That's where I got this one. $12.69 for this one on Blu-ray if you want to own it now, and highly recommend this. One of the greatest comedies of all time by director Harold Ramis, who, you know, RIP, is no longer with us. But I also have to, we got to talk about Flashdance. We got to talk about Flashdance with Jennifer Beal. I am a Flashdance fan. I watched this one for the first time when I got this Paramount Presents title, and I just fell in love with it. The music is freaking amazing. That song, What a Feeling, She's a Maniac. Like, I'm always listening to those songs and watching the music videos with Jennifer Beal kind of dancing. And it's just an iconic movie. It has an iconic soundtrack. It's really a product of its time. It's definitely very 80s, but if you're into that kind of stuff, that 80s nostalgia, I think you'll absolutely enjoy Flashdance if you haven't seen it. So you can get this Paramount Presents title, you know, which has an additional special feature and an interview. This is actually directed by Adrian Lin, who also directed Fatal Attraction, which is pretty interesting. And you got that poster on the inside, and you got the special features and all that stuff as well. It looked absolutely phenomenal. And I'm a big Flashdance fan. I'm not afraid to admit it. Flashdance, you need to have in your collection for $22.99 on Blu-ray. Now, let's talk about this one. This is one of my favorite John Carpenter movies, top 3 probably, and I didn't really gain appreciation for it until this 4K came out, and I watched it, and I was expecting to, I watched this movie all the time when I was a kid, but I wasn't expecting this movie to be as good as it was when I rewatched it on 4K, but Christine is a horror masterpiece. And I do want to emphasize with this one that this is the first and only time that John Carpenter and Stephen King collaborated to bring us a horror film, which is kind of crazy to think about. You would think that maybe Stephen King would have sought John Carpenter out more, or they would have collabed together more to bring his novels to life. But John Carpenter directed Christine, and that is the only Stephen King adaptation that he did. Keith Gordon as Arnie is absolutely fantastic and super menacing and terrifying in this film. And just I love the obsessive nature of his character and just how into this car he gets, to the point that it literally drives him insane. It's just such a great story. It's really more than just a killer car movie. Like, you think of a killer car movie, you think of movies like Maximum Overdrive, which was another Stephen King novel that he directed himself. He should have got John Carpenter to direct that. He might have brought a little bit more flair to it. But you think of ridiculous, it's all a killer car going around killing people. But this is really good, and it really kind of stands the test of time as a legitimate horror classic, in my opinion. There's some legitimately tense sequences in the film, and just some great imagery with that car on fire just going towards people. It's super menacing. They managed to make a 1958 Plymouth Fury actually terrifying in this movie, and it's just remarkable. So Christine, I cannot recommend highly enough. It looks spectacular in 4K as well. Sony did a terrific job with this release. It's got commentaries and deleted scenes and special features and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely recommend this 4K, and you can get it for $20.49. So the next one up, this one will probably get me in trouble. This will probably get me some comments. Like, really, you could have recommended so many movies from 1983, Ken, but you had to recommend Jaws 3. I understand people they sleep on the rest of the Jaws franchise. They don't appreciate it like I do. But when I was a kid, like, I watched all these movies like they were the same. Like, I watched Jaws 2, I watched Jaws 3, and I had a fun time with all of them. Maybe when I was a kid, I recognized that Jaws the Revenge wasn't as good. I always remember being a little bit bored by that one. But Jaws 3, I loved. And at one point, this was my favorite Jaws movie when I was a kid. This is always the one I wanted to watch. I just thought it was so cool that Jaws took over an underwater theme park in the film. And I just love the setting of this one. I think the shark is like really huge in this. And the whole scene with the shark going down and all the people under there, they see it for the first time and he rams himself into that glass. It's just so tense. I mean, you got Leah Thompson in this film. Dennis Quaid's in this movie. The cast is insane. Again, this was when I was a kid, but this was my favorite when I was a kid. I now do appreciate the first one as the best, obviously. It's in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I love Jaws. I recognize the greatness of Jaws, but I don't feel like the sequels are without merit. And I do still enjoy Jaws 2, and I do still damn sure enjoy Jaws 3. And right now, this one's pretty cheap. You can get this for $8.99 on Blu-ray. So I absolutely recommend, if you're a Jaws fan, if you're a Killer Shark fan, you have to have this one in collection. It's better than all the Dollar Tree and Walmart crap that you get now. If you want some good shark action, go back to the classics. Jaws 3, 1983 is a banger. I will say it right now. I don't care. I'm not afraid to admit it. I love Jaws 3. It's great. Own it on Blu-ray for $8.99. Let's get into the next one. And I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit here because I don't own this movie on Blu-ray, but it does have a fantastic Criterion edition for about, I believe it's 2028 right now. But The Big Chill is a great movie that I only watched recently. I got this DVD from a Goodwill, I believe. You know, it's got a terrific cast in this movie. The cast in this movie is insane. Tom Berenger, Glenn Close, Jeff Goldblum, William Hurt, R.I.P. William Hurt, no longer with us. Great performance by him. Kevin Kline, Mary Kay Place, Meg Tilly, Jo Beth Williams is in this film. Like, it's such a great cast. It's kind of just like a all in one location setting. They just found out their friend died. They come there for the funeral, and then they're all hanging out in a house together, just kind of reminiscing on the past. They're past friends. They're older now, and they're just kind of getting together to talk about the past and themselves, and just, you know, where everything went with them, and just kind of the relationships that developed between. It's really like Friends, kind of. The TV show Friends, but it's everybody getting packed together and just discussing and reminiscing on the past. It's a terrific film. The cast has great chemistry with each other. Again, it's all in one setting. It's just really kind of like a day in the life kind of film is how I would describe this, but just kind of characters in a situation, in a circumstance, something happens, and they're all forced together to interact with each other. And it's just a great movie. It's a great script. And this one was directed by Lawrence Kasdan, who also wrote Empire Strikes Back. So great movie, great movie. Absolutely recommend it. Again, it's on DVD. I found this at a Goodwill for $1, but you can get this, what I imagine to be an extraordinary Criterion edition with tons of special features and a great transfer for 2028. So The Big Chill, absolutely recommend that you have in the collection. So let's get into, I got two more. Like I said, I went a little lighter. On the horror, but we got another Stephen King adaptation here. This is The Dead Zone, and this is the Scream Factory edition that came out, I believe, in 2021. I really like this movie. I didn't like it as much the first time I watched it, and I will stand by my opinion that it does feel a little bit like two movies in one, and maybe they should have done a part one and a part two. But I do think that Christopher Walken's performance in this film is absolutely outstanding. This is definitely one of my favorite David Cronenberg films. And if you haven't seen The Dead Zone, they made a TV series out of it in the early 2000s with Anthony Michael Hall as well, but absolutely recommend it. It's a very tense. I love the first segment of this movie is very creepy. It's a serial killer story. Christopher Walken has these psychic abilities. That's kind of the setup, but that's incredibly creepy and atmospheric. But then you go into the whole Martin Sheen kind of political campaign stuff, which is really good too, but it's just not as eerie as that first half. And I just wanted a whole movie with that first half, just more fleshed out. And then, you know, it kind of ends a little abruptly, and then we go into the Martin Sheen stuff, and I don't feel like that's as well developed either. So I just feel like it would have worked as two movies, but it's still a great movie. It's a great performance by Christopher Walken. I think he absolutely nails it in this movie. So you can get The Dead Zone, this gorgeous Scream Factory edition. The transfer on this is a 4K scan on a Blu-ray. Just looks absolutely incredible. So highly recommend The Dead Zone from Scream Factory, and you can get it for $24.99 right now. So let's get into my final recommendation, guys. And I need you to do something for me. I need you to say hello to my little friend, Scarface. How could I not recommend Brian De Palma's Scarface? Now, this is the one movie in 1983 that I'll point to as simply iconic and a landmark movie. Again, all these other movies are great as well, but this is a landmark film that has shook the pop culture zeitgeist for decades since it was released. So I love this movie, and I will admit it right now, I only saw it for the first time last year, and I bought this 4K, watched it in 4K. It looks incredible. I cannot say enough good things about the transfer of this 4K, but this movie really blew me away. Like, I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan, so to get to go back and to see where a lot of the influences to create that show came from was really cool. And Al Pacino in this movie, every time I watch performance by Al Pacino, whether it's Dog Day Afternoon or Heat or The Godfather. I'm just more and more convinced that he probably is the greatest actor of all time, and he's so great in this movie. I love Al Pacino. You got Michelle Pfeiffer in this film. Such a great film. It's iconic for a reason. You have to own Scarface in the collection if you don't already. I imagine a lot of you probably do, and you're probably looking at me like, yeah, we all own Scarface, Ken. Why are you recommending this one? But in case you don't, this is me again telling you, you need to own Scarface, and you need to own it on 4K because it looks fantastic. So you can get Scarface on 4K for $19.22, which is a great price for that release. But look, I'm done. I'm done recommending 10 movies on Blu-ray from 1983. I hope you enjoyed this list. Please like this video. Comment down below if you got any other recommendations from 1983. Probably make a second video for 1983 right after this one because I've seen quite a few movies from this year. But yeah, comment down below, like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on all my social media accounts, turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and I'll see you next time.